banging on the table. Give me some Dak Prescott. Yes, it was a great night to be a Dallas Cowboy. If you hate them, sorry, not sorry, because they just beat the best team in football and played their pants off on defense, 13-10. Let's hear from the Brain Trust. I want to hear from these head coaches, starting with one of the most quotable in our league, Sean Payton, after the loss.
You know, I thought we struggled really throughout the night having any consistency offensively. I thought we made enough plays defensively. We kind of felt like it would be a lower scoring game coming in, but you know, we just didn't do enough things, and that starts with us as coaches, the plan going in. There'll be a lot we watch on tape and you know, regret certain plays, but before I get into any of that, you really got to tip your hat to the way they played.
Team works really hard. They come to work every day and they get locked in on what we need to do each day in our preparation leading up to these ball games. We just try to take it one day at a time, one step at a time, try to practice well, stack good days on top of each other, and let that preparation show up in the game. I thought it did throughout our team tonight.
Oh, yeah, it did. Take a look at the Cowboys' defensive rankings this season. They're allowing 318.2 a game, which is pretty insane. They allowed 176 total to this red-hot Saints team, which is wild. Defense, offense, both coming to play last night at home in a huge game. Kyle, you said earlier, and Jerry Jones said this is like a Super Bowl for them, taking on arguably the best team in the NFL. You said this week that if the Cowboys could beat the Saints last night, that they are Super Bowl contenders. How do you feel this morning?
I feel great. Yeah, I think it was Tuesdays. We talked this game to death all leading up to it. I said if they beat the Saints, they can beat anybody. They can win the Super Bowl this year. People have very strong feelings about the Dallas Cowboys. Here's some of the feedback I got on Instagram. The network put the quote out. Aaron C4 says, that's the dumbest thing I've heard all year. Ekham M says, I've lost all respect for you. And 77 Lifting Monkey says, think before you speak, Kyle. Think. Wow. Like he's my father. Think about this. Nobody in the NFL has won more primetime games than Dak Prescott. He's now 12-4. Dak has played one playoff game in his career. He was incredible. Went toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers. They have an amazing defense and just held the best team in the league to 10 points. They were shutting them out. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying they're going to. They can. There's no one they can't beat. If you beat the Warriors 4 out of 7 times, you can win the finals. Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson. He could knock out anybody in the world. Now, he came back fat in his next fight, and that's a different story. This team's not coming back They're coming back fat. They're young, they're determined, and Jerry Jones summed it up last night perfectly. He said, a team that's young like this, when they start to believe, don't know any different. They don't know that they're not supposed to win. It's a dangerous team. They can win the Super Bowl this year. Think about that.
2 weeks ago, I said that the Cowboys will beat the Redskins and they'll beat the Saints. And I remember, Strays, you looked at me and you're like, what? Wait, stop. Cut the tape. Wait a minute. And I said, yes, they're going to beat the Redskins and beat the Saints. Now, even though they're on a win streak and they're heating up, it's just like the NBA Jam game that we all love. You got to hit a few shots before he's actually on fire. Now, it's a little bit different with this team. It's not just a couple of games and I'm going to say the Dallas Cowboys are on fire. They're going to work their way to the Super Bowl. I will say this, though. Dallas Cowboys, they're going to win their next game. They play the Eagles. The biggest test is the Colts. I don't care about looking past the team because I'm not playing for the Cowboys. So if the Eagles get offended, I don't care. But I do feel like the Cowboys right now have to test themselves against a quarterback that can light up the sky. Now, I know you're saying they just did that against Drew Brees.
Really well.
But they have another test with the guy who is my dark horse MVP, which is Andrew Luck. So I'm not going to sit there and say they're Super Bowl contenders right now because I don't want to get overexcited because I predicted they'll win this last game. But I will say in a couple weeks, they'll have their biggest test. If they beat up on Andrew Luck, beat up on the Colts, then I'm convinced that they will have a chance to contend for the NFC Championship game and then possibly a Super Bowl.
Kyle touched on something. Talk about Jerry saying they're so young that those are the times each win you build on it. And Brian Billick's on the network. Brian Boldinger's on the network. Daniel Jeremiah's on the network. Those guys will get into the X's and O's. I could tell you something about locker room, personality, juice. When you walk into a building, you know if they've got it. 2 years ago, I walked into that Falcons building. I knew that Falcons team had something special going on. Last year, we were around the Eagles quite a bit. We knew there was a certain juice. Jerry represents something when he talks like that. And those defensive players who are now calling themselves the hot boys, flying all over the field, giving each other love, Zeke, having that energy. There is a juice to this team, and I can't put it in X's and O's, and I can't give you stats to back it up. But seeing Jerry Jones, even on Thanksgiving when he kind of had one of those moments where he looked like the White Walker, that one right there.
The Night King.
Whatever it is, the Night King. I'm
Night
trying.
King. You did good.
That is, hey, that's
Same
Gladiator. Are you not entertained? The Cowboys have something that you cannot specify on all 22, and you can't do in a fantasy football box score. The Cowboys have the juice right now. And if you think that the Eagles are going to come in there and upset them, I don't see it. If you think that they're not going to be ready for a Colts team that hasn't played in a big game in about 4 years, I don't know. Nate, the Cowboys have the juice.
Oh, I know.
And like Omar Epps once said, hey, you
got the juice. Okay.
That's what scares me a little bit when you got the juice. And for all the Saints fans complaining about the refs, that's why you want games at home in the playoffs. You know, you're not the first team to get hurt against Dallas in a big game and a big call. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Saints had no juice. I don't know where the juice came from with these Cowboys. They started 3-5. Now we're talking about them taking out Super Bowl contenders, which they did last night. It's unbelievable. And we're giving credit to the defense and Zeke and the play calling and all of that. They are Super Bowl contenders in my eyes if they keep playing the way they are, I'm meaning like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, we're not giving him enough love. He's in this 4-game winning streak, 0 interceptions, 7 touchdowns. We've talked a lot about what this team has been like, sort of vanilla, granola, Dak not playing up to his potential. But we all sort of admitted, even over their rough start to the season, this team's too talented to keep playing like this. When they lost to the Titans and Troy Aikman was making the comments about how they should tear it down and start over, I feel like this breakfast table was like, no, they've still got these pieces and they just need to bring it together, which is pretty much what they're doing now. So I feel like, I've said this a couple times on the show, they're reminding me right now of the 2016 team. Dak's playing that kind of football, mistake-free football, which is going to get them to go really far. They are, controlling the clock, doing all of that. They're the same 2016 team with a way better defense, which is scary.
You don't see it in the highlights. Those linebackers right now, they're like Patrick Wilson, Navarro Bowman, Jalen Smith.
Kyle, they are so damn fast.
Sean Lee's in street clothes, and you don't miss him.
No.
I'll say something else. Randy Gregory had the roughing the punter call, and you said it in the highlight. Everyone said, okay, well, there it goes. That was the dumbest bonehead thing. For a team to overcome that and not let that ruin the game, that is a sign of a team that is playing on a different level right now. That is such mental toughness to have 3rd and long, roughing the punter, a killer against Drew Brees, and the Saints did not score another point from that point forward. The Cowboys, very impressive.
And I know we give Jerry Jones a tough time because he loves to be on camera and he talks a good talk and he always gives us quotables. We're in a day and age where some of these coaches and GMs and front office folks will do tough love and they want the camera in the face and they're like, our quarterback got to play better and they got to do this and got to do that when they're not even on the field. Jerry Jones came out a few weeks ago and was like, he is our quarterback. Dak Prescott is our quarterback, and I'm going to extend him.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, why would he say that right now? Maybe he wasn't saying it because Dak was playing well. He was saying it because